you have to slow down and take a step back before you can really accelerate. The beauty of this business is it's not ran one way. You truly find what fuels your passion. If you're going to have some value to your business, it needs to run without you.
Welcome to Real Estate Leadership Unlocked. I'm Debbie Lariviere, founder of Monter Coaching, where we help brokerage owners, independent firm leaders, and team leads develop scalable and profitable businesses built on strategy, clarity, and performance. Today's episode is a vibe. It's not any vibe. It's high energy, joy-filled, creatively charged, and full of golden takeaways that will make you rethink how you're running your business. I am joined by the unstoppable Somer Padilla, luxury agent, systems queen, and creative visionary based in the Woodlands in Houston, Texas. Somer and I connected through Realm, and I knew from the first conversation that she brings the kind of energy and insight that lights up a room. And now, this podcast. From a thriving career as a photographer and graphic designer in LA to building a standout business in Houston, Somer has mastered the art of reinvention and done it with some serious systems and style. In this episode, we will dive into how she pluses every part of her pre-listing setup, communication plans that seamlessly include her team, and even how she is using AI to enhance, not replace, the systems that keep her business flowing. And yes, even while she's on a month-long vacation. She is the visionary behind the Vacanza collection, her signature spin on building an agent referral network to explore and document feeder markets to continue to grow her business. We will talk about planning for your future self, building a team model that's scalable and fulfilling to everyone on the team, and why the secret to long-term success might just be putting it away neatly so that we're proud of it tomorrow. Systems Queen. Somer is packed with perspective, full of joy, and honestly, after this episode, you'll want to be her new best friend too. Let's dive in. Welcome, Somer. I am so excited to have you part of Real Estate Leadership Unlocked today, sharing all of your experiences about how you've gone from professional photographer to real estate agent in a completely different area, as well as how you're excelling in luxury. And the highlight is the fact that you have built a real estate business around systems and processes that just don't fail. You were telling me about how you got to take a really long month-long vacation. So we'll dig into all of those things today, but let's kick off with big picture. Tell me about your real estate business, your team, where you started, a little bit about your background and where you are now.
2012, I think, it's when I got my license. And so in 2020 is when I started my own brokerage. So I broke off. I was a solo agent for almost 9 years. And we now have a team of 10 women that we have a combined experience of 150 years in the business, which is amazing. So I have 3 mentor agents that help the younger agents that are all 30 years in the business. It's amazing to teach for our real estate commission and train new agents. And so it's just a wonderful synergy. Our team's different because we all have our own business, but we come together to just heighten what we have. So we're called the Summerlin Group, and we cover all corners of Houston. So our office is the Woodlands, the north suburb, where actually Ritz-Carlton is breaking ground on their first standalone residences in Texas in the Woodlands. So that's exciting. So we cover Houston Metro and all surrounding suburbs and acreage.
So when you say different businesses, are you just all working in different geographical areas, or is it more of they run their business under your brand? Tell me a little bit about that.
Yes. So they have the freedom. Their listings go under their name. Their business is their business. If I bring them business, then it's a different type of agreement that they have. But I do let them have the freedom to market on their own, but they do use the Summerlin Group. I bring a lot of media to the team. So I created That's My Houston, where we feature local businesses, and I encourage them all to pick their businesses every month, and we film them, featuring our local market. So it's a great way for the Summerlin Group to build on their branding. If they have a listing that just needs extra media, like we come together and really hone in on that media footprint, and that they usually lack on their own. So it's a benefit. It's a win-win for both of us.
Yeah, I love that. And the best thing about teams nowadays is it's not one size fits all. And I love how the team leaders are allowing for a little bit of diversity and creating a group that enables agents to come together, have the support that they want, and build the business that they want, define their success differently, and that sort of thing, and then build on those different systems and work in conjunction with those systems and the value that you bring to the table. And it's refreshing to see that different model that you've created for success for your women. Yeah, that's huge.
And I want longevity. I want their reviews to go under their name. When it's, there's some agents on a team that everything goes under the team lead, and then they leave after 3 years and have no proof of business, right? And so I just don't think that model, works where we're heading. And so it's been nice to do it a different way.
Yeah, and I love what you said, where we're heading, and that is that agents do want a name for themselves, and they also still want the support. So if you can offer the best of both worlds, like you said, it leads to longevity. So
yes,
I think that's
exactly
great. All right, so let's go back a little bit. When we were chatting earlier, you had a very successful photography business in LA, and now you're in the Woodlands, Texas. Not that it is not near as glamorous, but how does one go from photography in LA to real estate in the Woodlands in 2013?
Yeah. So at 23, I bought a photography studio. It was actually my very first job out of high school. It was the studio that did my senior pictures. And it was the only job I got fired from. Isn't that funny? And then I turned around and bought it 5 years later.
There you go. You know what? Never tell talent no.
Well, it was funny. It was like, when you're here, you're amazing. We just don't know when you're going to be here.
That happens.
I had moved like an hour away. It was a long story. I was in college, but it was hilarious. But anyways, so we did a lot of volume, and I was pregnant with the fourth child, and bringing a very good gross, but the net was awful. And it was just, we needed to breathe. We had a studio rent. I had a mortgage. We just had a lot. I had a staff of 7, and it was just a grind. And it was like this, there's got to be a better way. So sister-in-law moved to Houston first. We saw what she paid for her house, and we're like, wait, what? What? And then mother-in-law came to visit, who lived in Newport Coast, which is very bougie. And she's like, we're going to retire in 2 years to the Woodlands. And we're like, what? If she likes it, so I just Googled and searched it, and we were so ready for change. We didn't even visit Houston. We literally sold the business, put everything on a truck, and we told the movers, we'll beat you by a few days with an address, but I knew the zip code. I'm like 77379. And 18 years later, I am still in 77379. Wouldn't do that type of move now, but when you're 30, pregnant with your fourth child, it was like, that's the way to go.
Yeah, anything goes at that point. Just ask your children.
Yeah.
You don't want to get dressed today? Okay.
Yeah, let's do that. So I was a freelance photographer for a good bulk of that. So we came 2007. So I didn't get my license until 2012. So I met a wonderful agent in Houston. She's been consistently like the top 10 of Houston for 20 years. And I was shooting houses for her. And so photography wasn't bringing the averages it used to before digital. Like, I started when it was film, and it was very lucrative. And then digital came, and everybody became a photographer. So I called her. I was like, hey, I'm thinking of getting a real estate license, or should I be an appraiser? Or like, what field? And she's like, I'm starting a new development called Lago Woods. It's 5 wonderful builders. I need help. Get your license. And so, the rest is history.
Wow. And that goes to making those connections and meeting the right person at the right time. And I think we talk about real estate being such a relationship business. And oftentimes as realtors, we go to the client side in that thought process. And when in fact, I mean, so much of our business is built on agent relationships, much like what you and I have that mutual relationship with Realm, how they do that. I mean, just being able to showcase properties and meet agents in other areas where you can send referrals as well as receive referrals. And we'll dive into how you're utilizing some of those connections in a little bit. But that's, I mean, we just can't forget the relationship with the agent. So that is a very interesting story. So you started with this basically on a team for new construction. And then you said in your intro that you also had your own brokerage. So what was it about working independently from a brokerage? What were your successes and what were your challenges there? Because I know you're now back with another brokerage.
Yeah. Well, so 2020 was when I needed to expand and have a team. I needed leverage. I was doing very good. And, the team I was on, she ended up starting her own brokerage again, and she wouldn't allow me to have a team. And so I was like, well, I don't really have a lot of options here. And so I started my own company, the Summerlin Group, and that was 2020. And, I went in there like ready to, build a whole team of people. And I realized when you own your own company and be a brokerage, you got to decide if you're going to be a producing agent or be a true broker and really help build businesses of all these other agents. So I went in with a lot of personal business and I was like, there's no way. Like, I can't build a team. Like, it's a lot easier for me to make this certain income on just me than for me to make that income on like 10 other people. So the whole nurturing and building the support for the team just didn't happen. But it was a very short time because 2021, the broker I left, she was merging with Corcoran and had me come attend those meetings. And she's like, I'd love to bring you back and you can help, maybe open another office. And so I'm like, okay, let me explore this. And then Compass called the same week. And I'm like, well, let me see what Compass offers.
Right. Yes.
And then I sat down and I literally cried at the meeting. And I was like, there is no way I can deliver this service to my client or my team. And I had the support that I needed. And so I couldn't leave myself fast enough is what I said.
Yes. Well, and I think it's very important when we know when we should fire ourselves. And I think that comes into play with as we start diving into the systems you've created, because so often realtors pride themselves on being the person that can do it all, right? You have all these hats in the closet and you just keep taking them on and off. And at the same time, you look at that and you say, how efficient is that? I mean, you have to know at what point you fire yourself from doing transactions and fire yourself from showing property to certain, areas, maybe outside of your geographical scope or, it's just there. You're right. I love that you fired yourself. You couldn't fire yourself quick enough. That's going to be the tagline for this podcast because that is perfect. That's perfect. So now you have your own team. And I know you told me a little story about how it's that one step backwards to go 3 steps forward and where you got to. So tell our listeners about what was that deciding factor that said, hey, I've got to really latch on to systems and processes to make this exponential.
Yes. So it was a particular month. I had 10 listings, no transaction coordinator. Like I did everything. And so I got them from contract to close. And as soon as all those listings closed, you can guess what happened. There was no more listings. So I completely neglected my sphere. I completely neglected my pipeline. And so that was the moment that I was like, I need support. But the hardest challenge I had was trusting that someone else can deliver what I do to my clients. Like making sure that every step of the way is done right. And so that control issue was an issue. And I'm like, okay, how do I train? I don't have the bandwidth to train. And so I really realized that if I had a blueprint, which I had a small little sheet of, checklist of what gets done, I wanted to define every experience a client has with me from phone call to post-close and what that looks like. And most agents don't have, they're just running and they don't have the time to stop and do that. And so therefore they don't bring on anyone to help. They don't refer out. They burn out. And so that was a defining moment. And Will Gadara, who wrote Unreasonable Hospitality, he talks about this. I adore him. And he talks about slowing down before speeding up. And he would shut down his entire restaurant for an entire day and bring every staff, busboys, hostesses, everyone who worked there. And they defined every touch point a client has, a guest has. And so I was like, I learned this after I did this, but I was like, yes, that's what I did. And so now when I talk to other agents, I tell them about Will. You have to slow down and take a step back before you can really accelerate and have systems to duplicate what you're doing. Because there's only so many buyers you can personally take on. There's only so many listings. And so we just got really hyper-focused. And then I was able to bring a TC, was my first hire, a transaction coordinator who is my mother.
You're a brave woman.
Yeah, it's amazing. I hired her in 2020. Yeah, amazing. So, I love that. And so, and then now with our team, like I pick and choose team members to handle certain clients. And it's just a wonderful network to have support with my clients.
Yeah. And that book, I actually just finished listening to it on Audible for the third time. Like over the years, it's been out a while. I'll listen to it and I'll pull some nuggets. And I just finished it, actually last Friday on the treadmill I was listening to. It's such a great book because again, it doesn't matter what season you're in your business. You can relate to something in that book, whether strip it down or things are going well and how the balls start falling and wheels come off the bus kind of thing and how to regroup all of that. So great recommendation for a book read for sure. So then as you're building the systems and processes, I know you shared that this isn't all top secret and we will give our listeners a little nugget to take with them at the end. If you could walk us through, like you said, phone call to post close, overarching topics, not like send the paper to this person at that point. What are those touch points that you make sure happen in every transaction? Because again, oftentimes we look at transaction as we're under contract to close. There's no pre, there's no post. So what are some of those touch points that you look at and what are some of those ideas that you have around growing your processes and systems to be repeatable?
Yes. And we're always evolving and changing. If there's an issue that pops up, we're like, what could we have put in our checklist to have avoided that? Right. So we're always tightening it up and just continuing to do that. Communication and being proactive and ahead of our client is really the framework, right? So if you have a client that's asking like, when is closing? Like, when am I going to be there? Or when is this? You got to check your systems. So we ahead of time make sure that their welcome email and includes all the steps of steps to closing for them. And then we also do calendar invites for all these main dates, like their walkthrough is a calendar invite, the appraisal, they're all on a calendar. The one thing that works in my benefit is, especially when I have a lead of a seller, I really have systems honed in that before I walk through their door, they know very key things about me already so that I don't have to like spill it all out on their couch, right? And it goes to like the first phone call. There's a step immediately afterwards to send them my contact card and reviews. My contact card, I call it loaded. If your contact card isn't loaded, meaning your websites, your stats, your links, all your socials, like everything should be in your contact card. And the link to my reviews is there too. But when I text them, it's a sweet little message. Looking forward to meeting you. Here's my contact card and a link to my reviews. Because I want them to see what my clients say about me. That's the biggest fan base and validation I have. And in Houston Association of Realtors, I have 175 5-star reviews. So they're gold to me, Yeah. And then immediately I send them a calendar invite. And this just shows efficiency, right? They're like, oh, she got us on a calendar. It's right in there. And then bam, right after is an email. I will pull over to do this. Like it's that important to me to be quick. And the email is just ahead of our meeting. I'd love for you to, there's certain things we have in Compass we sneak peek on. So I'll put a link to some of those things that I'll be discussing in their home. And then I put a link to our videos. Our video marketing is really our wheelhouse. Like we're a media company. We market the heck in-house, and my background really does help with this, but I don't shoot my own stuff anymore.
I was going to ask that. I'm like, are you out there with a camera or did you fire yourself yet?
Oh God, I fired myself, but it was like 8 years in before I fired myself. And anyways, and so it just shows I'm really dictating what they feel. So when I walk through the door, like, this girl knows her stuff. No one else did what she did already. And so our checklist has that. And the experience is really that we are one step ahead of them in communication, that we talk weekly, that we're not, and we ask, do you want to be texted? Do you want to set a phone call once a week? This service elevated, and also we pivot. It's not one size fits all, right? So every client's a little different how they want to be handled. So we're able to adapt. And that's a key thing for us.
Yeah, I love it. And so for those listeners, if you didn't take a note, I want you to stop and get out your notepad on your phone right now and take a note that says, stack your contact card. Make sure it is stacked, because even now if you're Apples, I call it, I don't know, like kissing, right? You touch the Apple phones together if you're at conferences and that sort of thing. Stack your contact card. I love that. Make that step number one. And then the next thing you said was send a calendar invite. That's not something I do. I love that. I do for coaching. I don't do for real estate clients. And so send the calendar invite and load in there some additional emails, or send an additional email that does showcase your marketing, some of the different things that you supply or you offer as items of value. And what I love about this, because I do the email piece too, because I think it saves time in the listing presentation. We have those personalities that will never open the email. They got the calendar invite, they'll show up, they're ready, and you have to do what you have to do. Right. But for the most part, out of the two people you're typically presenting to, one of them will read the email, one of them will look at the video, or click on the reviews just to see who they're meeting, that sort of thing. And so I think it's so valuable to be able to shortcut the listing appointment a little bit too. Mm-hmm. So you can be more humble in your presentation, focusing on them and their goals versus the first 10 minutes of you and all the amazing things that you've done and all the amazing things you're going to deliver. Right?
Yeah, no, yes, it's 100% about them and listening and tailoring to what their need and what their expectations are, understanding that. So yeah, I agree with you 100%.
Okay, now I'm going to fast forward it because this is really good stuff. So you leave the listing appointment and they tell you they're interviewing other agents. They're going to think about it and get back to you. What's your next step?
Well, it's kind of funny. Like at the end, I pull up my calendar and kind of talk about when photos will be in this date. Like I talk like it's going to be done.
There you go. I love it.
But afterwards, it's very important to send a recap. I do ask to have conversations recorded just so that I can not take notes and really be in 100% present and can do a follow-up. And most clients are really open to that because I'm listening. And then I can do a follow-up recap of that. So that's been really helpful. And so immediately afterwards with Compass, we have a wonderful platform. And so we have a dashboard for clients. And so we go in there and we customize it based on what our conversations were. And I invite them to it, even if they haven't committed, just so they can see what it's like working with us. And if you don't have the Compass, like we've done this with Trello, there's a third-party app called Folio that we used to use. And Folio is client-facing as well. And so you can go in there and do the steps. And so I just think it just really helps them understand and communicate. And you look like a badass, right? So we'll put kind of tasks, like they might have a roof replaced. We put that in there. Or I committed to deliver something. I said I would pull something or get a lead for them in another city that they're moving to. So it's important to me, whether it's in our Compass platform, if you don't have that, in Folio, or just an email of stating those things. So to be very responsive on that.
Yeah. And that's the thing. You don't have, I feel like technology is advancing so quickly that for agents, it is in your best interest to invest in your business and have some type of system that allows a client-facing portal type of thing. Mm-hmm. But like you said, even if it's Trello, you can get the free version and use that. Just the best CRM is the one that you use. And I would say the best for technology. And what I love about you recording that is even with the meeting, you can upload that into AI and get the bullet points out. And so what's interesting about that is I've done this with interviews for clients who are hiring, and I'll ask, so give me 3 more questions that I should ask this person in a follow follow-up email, because AI doesn't hear what we hear in terms of emotion and all of the things going on. AI only knows what it knows. And so oftentimes I'll get some really great questions that it picked up on that I totally missed because it has nothing to do with the emotional side of buying a house or selling a home. So,
and AI I know we'll talk about this in a little bit, but it really enhances what you have. So, we build it, all the prompts that we put in our account, everything that we've fed it, it starts to learn you. And so, it's just really enhancing your service as well. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Well, let's segue into that. What are you utilizing how are you utilizing AI in your systems and processes?
Yeah. So when we have like CMA analysis for either seller or buyers, we have a wonderful super prompt that Chirag Shah with Compass has created that we've imported into ours. And we use it daily. So what it does, it's a super prompt, and it just really allows, like, if we want it, we have to look at the comps, and I tell it what range I want it to be or the price point. But the way we feed it, it just is a wonderful analyzation that I would never have the time to write out. And I usually shorten it because I'm like, I don't write that long of an email. Let's shorten that, like, really, like, bullet point. And it just saves so much time in that. And it does have a perspective that I don't always think about. And I don't do it as is, like I go in there and customize it, but it saves, so much time. We can upload an inspection report and recommend, maintenance things to do once they post close, and I've dictated my super prompt. I know what I usually pull out of an inspection report to suggest. We want to make sure systems works. We want to make sure these things not cosmetic. And so I've trained my AI to read a whole report and suggest it. And I go through at the same time. I was like, oh, it did it for me. Like, it would take me an hour to go through a report. Now it's like a 15-minute thing. So it's saving time. And then to social media, like we do video interviews of businesses. I'll upload the sound to it, the audio for it, and say, make me a post based on this. And then it just makes me the post, and it makes the newsletters, and it makes the emails. And so, it's insane about the speed of what you can do things and tackle.
Yeah, I agree. And that's what, and it's continually getting better and better. And I've gotten to where you are. I start to train mine for words to avoid that I don't ever use, or in 300 characters or less, I'll put that in there, like, I'm the same way. I installed Fixer AI. I don't know if you know that, but it's for your emails, and it will actually, as it listens to you, reads your email, the emails that you type, it will start creating drafts for you. So you could send me an email that says, thank you, FYXER.ai. And it takes a little time. For me, it was about a week and a half to 2 weeks, and it started like one or two drafts here and there. But now it'll actually go in. So if you email me now, if I sent you interview questions for the podcast, and I said, looking forward to our podcast at this time, here's the link for easy reference, and you responded back, it would automatically put in my draft folder a response back to you. Thank you so much. Look forward to seeing you there. And so it's gotten used to me. Sometimes I go in and edit because, again, oftentimes it's a little more wordy than I am. However, to me, it starts it. It gets me to 75% there, and I go finish it, and I'm like booming emails out like that.
Yeah, and that is the start. The starting things. That's the key. It'll get you to get your, that's amazing. I'm going to implement that. My first week, I'm like, oh, I don't even know if I want this. This is so annoying because you have to put it in it puts it in different folders for you based on what it thinks. Okay. And then now I'm just at that. I'm like, oh, so I know what it's going to put in each folder. So the ones that and it'll even send me back. I use Boomerang, but this, it'll send me back. Like if I sent you a request to schedule a podcast, it'll send it back to me as an needs action item after 3 days.
Lovely. Like that you haven't ever responded. And so then, and it creates a draft. Hi, Somer. Just wanted to reach back out.
But I need that in my life. Thank you. That's like the missing nugget. Oh my God, gold.
Email is such a time trap. Oh my goodness. I think sometimes worse than social media. Yes. Not as productive sometimes as social media. So, okay. So I'm going to circle back to your systems again. So post-close, a lot of times us realtors, as you know, we go to a closing. We're so excited. We buy these really nice gift baskets or whatever it is. We shake their hands. We kiss their babies. They close. We give them the keys. And then they get our newsletter. And perhaps if they make the list for the client event, What do you do? I will tell you, I love what you said about the list from a home inspection report. I never even gave that thought. That is gold too. Like feed them the inspection report and then say, hey, here's some maintenance items post-close that you may want to address. That's gold. What else do you have for us?
Yeah, I know. And you just keep looking like a rock star. Like anything you can do to help guide their next, their investment. So with post-close, I say post-close is where the magic, the fun happens. I look at it as they become the family. It's part of the family. So everything we do, they're going to know. I'm very hyper-focused in making sure we have like house anniversary cookies fresh delivered every year. There was a time when I started that. I went back to every closing and it was like, happy 8-year anniversary. And so we religiously do that. And I don't post it to social. I don't like make a thing about it, but it's the text messages. And that's just a really wonderful thing that we've implemented that everyone loves. So birthdays are in, anniversaries are in, but I hyper tag based on if they're family, if they're empty nesters, if they're golf, if they're finance. Like we build a profile on all of our clients because there's certain articles I might come up with, but there's certain things that we can target or certain events. We have golf events and movie in the park events that we do. So we're really driven on events, but I really love our private dinners. So I will schedule, I need to do it every month. It's probably been every other month. Like a new restaurant pops up and I'll send it out to all my people and say, I booked a party of 8 at, Rivera, who's coming. And so it's a way to kind of like blast everybody, but you're not paying for everybody. And so it's the first 8 people. And so it's kind of becoming like the supper party, right? And so, I think that's a wonderful way. And we keep it to 6 to 8 to make it easier and clients get to know each other. So, those are fantastic to do. Also, that client dashboard that we have, after they close, it's more of a homeowner dashboard. So all their docs are uploaded. So if you make a Google Drive for them that they always have access to all their closing docs, that's important. Here's your drive in case you need to get your survey. We get to do it in Compass. We're spoiled, but, and so that's really important. And then like seasonal maintenances, we upload like, hey, we just uploaded this to your your portal. But the touches are really important. So, messaging them, getting on a call, especially like after they moved in the first like week, how's it going? Order them a pizza. Like it's really about elevating their experience. And I think our goal is to really heighten that level right now, especially after seeing Will Gadara speak in Denver last month. I was like, oh, he talks about that gifting, really understanding your clients and curate to what they need, and so, so really kind of going out of the box to be that person that listens and it's curated to them.
Yeah, I love all of those are such great ideas. I love that because oftentimes I'll have agents talk to me about events and I'll say, like VIP dinner or wine tasting or, bourbon tasting or whatever's in your area. Like you said, tickets to the local baseball games. At the same time, I love that you put a number on it because then they get used to seeing it pop up versus not knowing, okay, I'm going to invite 50. I have no idea how many people are going to show up. And then what, right? So versus hey, I made a reservation for 8, who's coming? And the same with, for the sports stuff too, you could look at golf. Hey, I have an extra round for 4 at this country club, who's in? And again, it's just like you said, sending that out.
That's really, if you can be focused on getting tickets like that and just sending it out, or sometimes I don't even send it out. I'll send it to somebody who I know. And, but if you do post it out, it's just great. It's just being fresh. You just want to be top of mind and never lose sight of that. Right.
Yeah. Okay, so we have to do more than the newsletter. I'm curious, do you own a bakery? Because I can only imagine how many cookies each month you're sending out. Is it for forever and ever, amen, or just in the last year? What does that look like?
Yeah, I think we had to have started 3 years ago. I think we started 3 years ago. So I use Tiff's Treats, Tiff's like Tiffany, Tiff's Treats. I think they're all over Texas. They're in California. They're all over. And it's $20 and they get like a dozen fresh cookies like sent. And then for birthdays, they'll have Kendra Scott necklaces. Like you can like upgrade to a birthday box with a balloon and a Kendra Scott necklace. Like, you can't go wrong. So yeah, I use them.
I love it. That's what a great direction. All right. So we also have another new element of your business called the Vacasa? Say it again.
Vacanza
collection.
Italian for vacation.
Oh, I like it. The Vacanza collection. So tell us what you're doing with the Vacanza collection to elevate your brand.
Yeah. So my youngest is going to be 18 in November. So, now that we moved to Houston, raised our kids, we're like, where do we go for? I want a second market, right? But not just for me personally. Most of my clients here invest in other states. Like their homes in Colorado are like 3 times as much as their home here in Houston. And so I really wanted to be intentional and be this resource for my clients to guide where their next investment will be. And if they're not investing, come to me first. I know you. I know what lifestyles you have and what, and I hone in. Do they want golf? Do they want mountains? Do they want all the things, right? So I wanted to be a concierge for them to be able to refer them out to other agents. And it was also important to me to travel to these areas that are big feeder markets for not feeder necessarily, but that Houston people purchase in, which is Florida and Colorado, and really understand these markets and be there. So last month I visited Vail, Aspen, and Breckenridge. And so I really got to understand, and I team up with agents there and I film a perfect day in their city. So I learn the coffee shops, the restaurants, I learn all the things, and we video this to put on social, and then we film their listings. And so that way I become so much more knowledgeable and for my clients. And so our newsletters, I don't like newsletters. I think I just don't. But my Vacanza newsletter is a whole nother realm because it's fascinating. We feature cities and we feature video content on there. And then we have investment things in there. So the open rate is 82%, right? So I stick with that for our a newsletter. But it builds these referrals partners with these other agents. Because a lot of times people will move there and they want to sell their home in Houston. And so it's really helped elevate our name and our brand, the Summerlin Group, Somer Padilla for Houston as well. So it does a few things for me.
Yes. So it sounds like vacations on your as a business expense would be number one. And then number two, like you said, I think sometimes it goes back to, we always think clients when we should be thinking agents, how can we build additional agent connections, especially if their feeder markets in and out of your area, because now your quote newsletter or your lifestyle page that you're sending out is more geared towards where they would actually go or markets that they are interested in learning about. And the fact that you showcase the locals piece, that to me is the true game changer, because we can go on Airbnb and Google and all of those different sites and see, here are the things to do, and oftentimes my husband and I are heading up to the Outer Banks and I'm like, well, zoom in, no, really zoom in. I want back alley zoom in. My husband knows that. I don't want your Moe's chicken and barbecue that everybody's I want back alley. It's in some speakeasy behind a phone booth, that's what I want. And that's what I think people crave, is that locals feel. If I'm going to go explore an area to purchase something that may be more expensive than my primary residence, or give me an additional vacation rental income, I want to know the ins and outs. So I think that's fascinating that you're truly sending out that here's what the locals do. Here's what you can expect. Don't get stuck at for here I'm in Wilmington. I won't mention any restaurant name brands, but the touristy seafood joint. Go to this place and it's in a strip mall, and you're going to be like, do I need to lock my doors? But it's the best food ever. So I think that's great.
Also letting your clients know that you'll vet them an agent. If they're anywhere in the world, let me find you the agent. Let me vet them. Let me search their track record. Let me check their reviews. I know what makes a good agent. So let your people know you can do that for them anywhere. And the beauty of this business is it's not ran one way. You truly find what fuels your passion. You might be an equestrian lover, and that's a whole nother niche of equestrian people around the world, right? Or boat boat and yachting. I mean, that's a whole nother. You could just find your passion and then build this business around it.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think too, like when you think about stacking your contact card, to have a link to some of the areas that you've explored, because again, when you think vetting an agent, on one side, it just showcases that you actually know these different areas, right? So I might not have a video on where you want to go in Bozeman, Montana. However, here's what I've done for another client. This is how well I will search that area to find an agent for you.
Yes. So and that goes back to Realm, because Realm, like, we got Bozeman, we got everywhere. Like, it's that having that elite group is changed my business. And I joined in 2023, and it's been amazing to see the building of a family, and being that resource for my clients and having names in cities that I never had before.
Yes, I agree. I'm thoroughly entrenched in all the things. I show up for as many of the calls as I can, because in a group of people that are so willing to share at such a high level. I think when you look at the level of agents and the level of the properties that are being showcased there, you think, gosh, I don't know, that's a little scary. I don't know. Am I qualified for that? They will handhold you, and they will show you who to talk to. I mean, I can't speak highly enough. Such a great. And I did see the Bozeman trip next week, and was thinking, I wonder how much a plane ticket is. I truly am like,
you should do it. You should do it.
I really have. I'm actually on quote vacation next week, and we're going to the Outer Banks for a few days, and we're coming back Monday. And I thought I could get on a plane and go check out that amazing. My husband would even come with me. We could do, I don't know, horseback riding. I don't know what do people do in Bozeman, but I'm sure I'll find out.
But the amazing thing is, if you don't go next week and you decide to go in a month from now, they will open you with open arms. They will welcome you with open arms, and you could go at any point, and then you'll have some private time with them, which is, why I like scheduling my trips to see agents one-on-one versus when there's a networking group.
Yeah, that's truth to that too. You get a little bit more of the insider's touch. Okay, so vacations, since we're talking about vacations, you told me that you went on a 30-day vacation, and with all your systems and processes, I can't believe this. You guys, stop what you're doing right now. Her listing's still closed. She still took new business in. Her buyers were still satisfied and got under contract. Like, light switch was off and the business was still going. Tell us about that.
Yes. So our checklist, I mean, really, I can log in the morning and just make sure that our TC is doing what they're supposed to. Because if it's past due, it turns red. I like to see that checklists are checked off. Some people have transaction coordinators where you don't even see their checklist, like they have their own, checklist. I tried that once, and I was like, I can't see your checklist. She's like, no, I don't share my checklist. I'm like, I can't do that. Like, I need to know what you're doing and what's next. So I have a little bit of issues there, but it's really built in a way that I'm not needed. And we have built in email templates. This is really important. So every stage has an email template. There's no guessing what to say at any point. And so, when I used Trello, we had links to a Google Doc that had them all. So that was easy to copy and paste. Now a Compass, each task has a link directly to that email, and it pops up for us. So, but whatever system you have, that's a really important system to make sure things are done. Now, I was gone for 30 days. I did take calls. There was one trip for my husband's 50th to Italy where it was 17 days and I took no calls. That was amazing. And that was systems, and that was really good people in charge of those systems. So yes. And some of you, you may not be at a level or a production level to, let's just say to stop and do these systems. Like, why do it? One main driver was if anything happened to me or if there was an emergency. I mean, for my clients to rely solely on me is really a disservice for them. So even if you're not having this team and you're like, hey, I do 8 deals a year, I don't need to do this. But at some point, something's going to happen. And if anyone in your office or another agent could just jump in and know where that file is, it's really, it's a service for your future self. And I always talk about my future self as a whole nother person. I don't want her pissed at me, right? Like I always talk about packing up Christmas lights, like really going through and packing them up right. So that me in a year would be like, oh, you're amazing. And just, if I leave you a natted ball, you're going to be pissed at me. Like, but that's really what processes are. And that's how I was able to leave, because it is so defined.
Yeah. Future. So see, I'm getting so many great nuggets. Okay. Now I've got a future self, and I'm going to name her too, because I think that's important. We have to refer to our future self as an actual person, and be kind to our future self. Yeah. Well, and I think too, like you said early on, sometimes you do have to, I understand the need to always do business, and there is natural seasonality in all of our markets, right? So there are times when, even if we've primed the real estate pipeline well enough to continue to hit our goals, there are times where it's just a little bit slower, and you have some time to go put these systems in place. And if you don't invest in yourself and hire someone, even just short term, to go and create those, the emails that need to be linked, and the Trello board that needs to be set up, and then hire, whoever your administrative person is to work it. I don't coin myself as a control freak, because I love a little bit of delegation and leverage. At the same time, my transaction coordinator, if I can't log in and see where she is, because I'll be the one that I'm like between a call going, did you send the utility information? All I have to do is click a button. And there it is. Because I think of it like at 3 a.m., I'll think of something, go, I don't remember seeing that email. Did you? No, just log in, click on it. Oh, yeah. Okay, check the box, move on. So, yeah. I love it. I love it. Well, that's the thing, too. If you look at, a lot of people look at real estate as, I'm never going to retire. This is going to be me forever. Yeah. Versus looking at it as, how can I build a business that if I decide to sell or create a succession plan at some point, I have the option. And sometimes, because God only knows how many days we have left, that option comes sooner than later, right? And for some people that happens. And so we have to look at it and say, whether it's the fact that your child is 18 and going on to his future self or her future self, or, you just get time back with your husband, or you decide that, hey, you know what, I actually do enjoy boating, and I would like to do that more than once a month. We have to build something that can be repeatable, for sure.
Well, yes, for sure. And you hit on a very good topic of succession and being able to retire. And you could build a business off referrals if you don't sell your business. But if you're going to have some value to your business, it needs to run without you. Right? So if you're going to sell your book of business, they need to know that it doesn't need you involved in it. And so building this really helps that. And then also, when you're doing a succession plan, to having someone come in and not take these clients, trusting that your clients are going to be serviced right, because you have the blueprint for your business, and you've set the expectations of what your clients should have, that you feel confident in whoever you've chosen to be able to take on your clients for you at that point. Because we have to retire. I can't take it all in at 80.
No, the smile will start to fade from my future self's face, and she got a lot more wrinkles. So with as you were speaking, so with your clients you have currently, are they brought up to speed basically in the listing presentation or pre-listing conversation about your team and who handles what, and they'll be hearing from someone else?
Yes, that is very important in the early stages. You can't just throw people at them and surprise them at all. Mm-hmm. Most of my clients, they like having the main touch from beginning to end. So it's important to me that if it's not me, that they know who that person is. And sometimes I would bring that person on the listing appointment. It just depends on what type of listing it is. So I plan ahead and really communicate. And then also they know, if I take on a whole client from beginning to end, they know that Catherine, my TC, is going to handle all the paperwork and the listings. I'm there for negotiations. And so they understand, we define what that expectation is, to be able to give them service. So it's the clients, when I sit down in listing appointments, I always ask, what they didn't like from their last experience. And a lot of it is that being handed down a pipeline and not knowing about it, not knowing that's how it's supposed to be. And so communication with your client, how it's going to work, is really important. And when you're on vacation and you're a solo agent, like, bring in a partner agent, pay them a fee, make sure the emails are copied with them. Text chains are with them, bring them in and say, hey, so-and-so, Tiffany's here on the text chain. I'm going to be out, message this text chain. And it doesn't have to be someone on your team. You could do this with anyone in your office. It's just setting up those expectations.
Yeah, I agree with that. And that's, like I said, I'm going out of town and I've already started with my clients. So I did a couple of showings this weekend and I said, hey, just so you know, this person is going to be filling in my absence in the event that something comes up. And so just expect between Tuesday and Wednesday that you'll be added to a text thread with that person so that I can stay in the loop and pop in if I need to.
Yes.
But yeah, just setting that expectation. And I'm with you, like just pay them a fee because then you don't worry about if they are going to prioritize something else over your client because they don't know what's in it for them.
Right.
So I think that's huge. Yep.
Yeah.
Well, this has been so valuable. And I know we're going to get you on a future masterclass as well. And we're going to throw a little surprise download in our show notes for some of your processes that you have, just a sneak peek. And as I like to end all of my podcasts, first, I have two things at the very end. One is if they have referrals for you in the Woodlands area in Houston or around Houston altogether, because you have agents servicing the entire Houston metro area, where would they find you? And we'll throw it in the show notes as well. And then what is your superpower?
Oh, gosh. Well, you can find me, but cell phone's the best way, 281-257-8029. The Summerlin Group is our website. And then Instagram has been the strongest platform for us for DMs. So at Summerlin. And summer is spelled like somersault. So SOMER. And then LYNN. But you'll have it down below. Superpower. I think my superpower is to read people. So I really feel I know pretty instantly who they are and what they need and I adapt. Sometimes I'm too bubbly. And so it just depends. I can take it back. I can be very straight point. There's clients you can't do certain things with. So I truly am in tuned with my clients. So I would say reading them.
I love it. Well, if you could read me, you would see that we are hiring for coaches, Summerlin. So you can just keep that in your pocket, right? If you're not lead generating, what are you doing? So there we go. And then I'll have her tell me what she really thinks once we turn this off so all of you can't hear it. But thank you so much for your time, your wisdom, all that you have to share with us. This has been a wealth of knowledge. I honestly have 6 or 7 things that I'm going to take back to my assistant, Chris, and have him get to work on.
That's amazing.
So that we can increase our processes and systems as well. So thank you so much for joining us. And we look forward to talking with you soon.
Yeah. Yay. Thank you, Debbie.
Bye-bye.
Bye.